y'all doing? I'm Jahlil. I'm the owner of Sharpshooter Visuals LLC, photographer, videography, amongst other things, but that's the main thing that I do. And I'm a lover of life, of all things, especially dogs. I always gotta shout out my dogs, they my babies.
That is something I hear you say all the time.
The dogs.
You're talking about animals, though. Not
Yeah, my animals.
I thought you was some DMX
I
stuff.
got 4 dogs.
Why didn't you mention the self-proclaimed GOAT? What happened to that?
Oh well, I was keeping it humble. I'm among greats right now.
No, might as well keep it humble in here. So let's go around the room, man. We can start with my man in the corner.
Justin Lamar, comedian, entrepreneur, visionary, philanthropist. I just keep adding to my resume. I just keep doing it every day.
Dev Pender, again, someone is happy to be here and just happy to be alive. He always spin positive stuff, man. But Chris Jr., again, just black men, happy to be here with my homie Jahlil and all my other guys here and ready to get into our topic tonight, man, and just kind of continue to build on our community and positive vibes in here.
Yeah,
Positive vibes.
And yours truly, man, Chris Pender Senior, man, and we're here, and I'm honored to be in here with the young royalty today, man. It's gonna be another great show. We've been building off every week. It gets better and better and better.
I see it.
I think our guests have been getting better and better and better, man. I'm excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
An entrepreneur, and for our young people, somebody who looks like them.
Mm-hmm.
And also somebody who's, you said something that the conversation you had with your mom, and I'm gonna start there. When you asked her, you mentioned us about
When we were taking photos.
Yeah, why you were you asked her why was people paying for your pictures or something like that.
Oh, I feel like we need to get more context to that person.
Well, that's why I want to
Let's get the back. Because he took photos for us.
Yeah.
Like we did a photo.
Oh, he did the photos.
Yeah, he did.
I was gonna let him explain.
He did a great job.
But you just jumped into his mom and people watching probably like, what are they talking about?
Well, no, because I was gonna let him explain how
Go
he
ahead,
came
talk
to
about
that.
how you took our
came to
photos.
that.
So I definitely did their group photos. It was a wonderful experience, a wonderful family to work with. But the conversation that they're talking about is the conversation where I had a conversation with my mom about photography. And she told me, she was like, you gotta understand that people was coming to you for the full experience. And at first I didn't understand that. I'm like, yo, people take pictures on their phone all day. And then as soon as a professional camera come out, they act like they don't know how to pose, they don't know how to stand, they don't like the way they look and all this other stuff. So why, But she told me, like, you gotta understand that if you doing this as a business, you taking it serious, you selling the whole experience. Like, anybody could just push a button, but you want to be the one that set up. You want to be the one that show them how to look, show them when they look good, show them when they don't. You know what I mean? Communicate with your client. So that's what I took from that.
Let me reinforce what your mom said, because I just had a photo shoot, right? With this photographer, actually from my high school. Didn't even know that till we linked up. But the reason I shot with her is not only because of her reputation with everybody, but just how she made me feel when I'm in the studio. She made me feel like I'm star 10. So, you know what I'm saying? His smile be beaming like 100 watts.
For sure, it's all about the
And
vibes.
it's the person behind the lens. I got a couple photographer friends, you know what I'm saying? And the ones that really stand out, it's more of like who they are behind the camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm sure you can teach somebody mechanics. I don't know. I'm speculating.
So now we'll get to that's why I want to start there, then get to our photo shoot.
Okay.
Because you got there because of what your mom said.
All right,
So
absolutely.
get a little chance in this context, man. Everybody's getting hit in the gun. Nah, because what she said to me is key to why you do what you do.
Absolutely.
Versus somebody just walks around with a camera, just kind of doing a thing. So I think Chris had a question he wanted to ask.
So I mean, you just kind of references anybody feels like they can take a picture nowadays, So like, what kind of took you down that path of like, you know what, I'm more so a visual artist. I want to be a photographer. Like, what gave you that start? Where did you get that start at, man?
Okay, so I did a lot. I know I'm young, but I did a lot of things coming up. Like, so right before
How old are you?
photography, I was
27. 27. Okay.
So right before photography, I was doing music. Now, don't get me wrong, I still write a little bit, but that's like subpar right there. That's a back burner. So, but before that, I was doing music, and we used to just be sitting in the studio all day, and that's cool. It's keeping us off the streets and everything. But I used to be looking around like, yo, we not making no money. Like, we putting all this money into the studio, all this money in the videos, all this money. We not bringing in nothing. So I always been the type that like I sit back and watch stuff like, oh, all right, I see how this business work. I see what the catch is over here. Oh, all right, I see how like I don't even go to the bar. I don't even go to the bar because I'll buy a $10 bottle before I buy a $20 drink. That's just how my mind works.
That's smart. That's smart.
That's a bar right there.
I want to say a little sidebar because my kids and my wife laugh at me because when I go on order, I always get a separate glass of ice.
Say make sure you get more.
Because they
Oh, yeah,
cheating, man.
Oh, yeah,
They
for
cheating,
sure.
man.
For sure.
they teach you, man. I'm
The
telling you.
cup be this big, the ice pop
One
up.
cup
So see, we obviously that's that kinship right there. Man.
You always think about the next dollar.
Right.
Sure,
Right.
absolutely. So with that being said, you know, we just was sitting in there, and I'm just like, yo, how can I add to this table? You know what I mean? I know I'm a skilled artist. That comes without saying. I write too easy, but I'm like, what skills do I have that I could bring to this table and not only help us not spend money on that, but now I could charge other people and bring money into the, you know, into the income.
I like where this is going.
So I was always the guys. If you look in a lot of pictures, I'm in none of them. From back in the day, high school, I'm in none of them because I'm the one taking them. I always take them. Yo, let me take this. Oh, this is a nice scene. I pull out my phone. Hey, let me take this. Like, right? Let me take this picture. Like, and I'm always taking them. So I'm like, you know what? Let me take this serious. I had a photographer friend that used to be around us. He was the one that was doing the music videos, and he was showing love and all that. You know what I mean? But again, I'm like, if I could do this myself, you know. So he like, he upgraded his camera. He was like, yo, let me know if you want to buy my old camera. So I'm like, yeah, I want to buy your old camera. Like, how much? So he told me the price or whatever. So all the money that I had on me, I was $50 short. I had the money on me, but I was $50 short. My homie that was sitting right next to me, my right hand man. Shout out to Scotty, man. Scotty, Andre Scott. That's my homie. Yeah, that's my right hand man. He said, listen, I'll put up the $50 with you because I know that I'm gonna be using this probably more than you. Yeah. So I'm like, you know what? Bet. We slid to the ATM. We came back with the money, exchanged it, and it was a wrap from there. I mean, I think I had that camera in my hand the whole day that day. You know what I mean? And it just took off from there. I fell in love with it.
Just kind of a similarity to our last guest and TJ, just the homie that's willing to just put up the bread, you know what I mean, to help somebody else succeed and get to, you know what I mean, what it is that you want to accomplish and do, man. That's why it's always important to just have a solid network and group of people around you, man, that are willing to invest in you. It ain't always got to be monetary. You know what I mean, it's been fortunate where that's what it's been, but you know, it's good to hear that you got that type of support.
Clearly, I feel like, you know, he saw the passion and the vision. You know, he was able to get behind that with you, you know what I mean?
For sure. It's like y'all was talking about in one of the previous sessions where that investing in your people, like y'all said, you have to invest because you're going to see that return. You know what I mean? If you're doing it in the right people, you're going to see that return, so.
Yeah, well, you know, and that's why it's key. The theme here is all, and we don't plan it like this, but the theme has been that the people on this show that they talked about, one of the key points to their success was who they were around. You know, they had some people that weren't too good they learned from, but they all had that person who when it was time to stepped up and said, look, hey, I'm going to take a chance. That's pretty cool because everybody don't have it.
Right, for
So
sure.
let's talk about the visions. How did you take it from, you know, just something you like to do
to business?
Yeah, so now I can turn into a business thing because many people don't know how to take their passion and make money off of it.
So it was always a business thing. It was always a business thing. You know what I mean? It was a passion, but it was always once the digital camera touched my hands, and I'm like, oh, all right, we don't have to pay him for this one. It was always a business thing. So my thing was just getting better. Just getting better, practicing. I'm asking everybody. I'm hitting people up. I'm writing people on Instagram. Yo, can we shoot? People hitting me back. No, I don't like your pictures. I don't like the way you edit. Saying all types of crazy stuff. But it was like, I didn't let that get to me because I was new. I know where I'm going. You know what I mean? Like where I'm at right now don't really mean nothing. I know where I'm going. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So with that being said, I just practiced like that first year. That was probably the most I ever shot. Period. Because I had the camera in my hand every day, shooting everything. Like I sit this up right here, and I'm, you know what I mean? Like just sitting there, like.
Because I was
stuff
saying,
like that. Like
we seen you do that, take pictures of random stuff.
Yeah, like and that's what happened. And I saw that it started. You know, this income is coming. Oh, they making. Oh, he do that. He got paid that much. Oh, all right. I mean, yeah. That's just what it was. Like I said, I sit back and I observe and I apply it when it's time to apply. My thing is be ready. So like my thing is stay ready so you don't ever gotta get ready. You know what I mean? And that's especially when it comes to the skills in your business, whatever it is. You know.
So I feel like we hear a lot of passion, man. Like just kind of want to take it back to your upbringing. Like where do you get that from? Like what type of people did you grow up around? Like your mom, dad. Give us some background, bro.
Okay, so my mom Tanzania, shout out to my moms. That's my backbone, man. That's my backbone. I'm the oldest of 6 on her side. So when I tell you that like it was me and her, like I was like, I don't want to say the father figure of the house, but I had to make sure that things was held down because she was working. She went to college. She graduated with her master's. Like my mom did great things, and we helped each other. Like if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here right now. Like I'm talking about, like I never once felt down and out with like just alone because she was always there no matter what it was. And to me, that's important. That's important. Just like you said, to always have somebody in your corner, because not only did it allow me to not hit a certain rock bottom that I seen a lot of my peers hit, it allowed me to not want to disappoint her. You know what I mean? Like I also didn't do a lot of things because I'm like, oh, my mom, like if I get caught in that, my mom ain't gonna like this. Like this ain't gonna look good on my mom. Like you know what I mean? So she was like, she's a big factor of a lot of the things that I do. You know, my dad was around too. Shout out my dad Jamal. He was around, but it's like my mom was that, you know, like that irreplaceable, like you know. So my grandmother is very artsy, very artsy. Arts and crafts, like she built her bed. She got a circle bed. She got a round bed.
That's not something you did.
Like, listen, she got a round
I mean, a
bed.
circle one too.
It's really circle. It's not like an oval. It's really circle. Like she built the foundation to it. So it's like she do stuff like that. Like she renovate her house. She used to run a daycare. So she used to have us in the house doing all types of arts and crafts, and she liked that. My pop had a vacuum cleaner business that I used to work at when I was a child. And just a quick story about that. I remember me and my uncle was working in there, and one of my uncle clients came in, and he came in with a broken belt for the brush on the vacuum cleaner, like a 2-minute fix or whatever. The person asked him, he was like, "Yo, can I just pay you to show me how to do it or whatever?" So my uncle was like, "No, like why would I do that?" And he walked in the back. So then we sitting there, you know, I'm in the back or whatever, talking or whatever, and he like, he doing what he doing, you know. So he stopped, finished it. Then he just sitting there. So I take the time to ask him, you know, I'm always watching. I peep that. I'm like, why you ain't just show him, like, just take that money to show him how to do it or whatever? He said, what type of shop is this? I said, a vacuum shop? He said, exactly. He said, what do we do? I said, fix vacuums? He said, exactly. If I sit here and teach everybody that walk in here how to fix vacuums, who will walk in here? I said, you know what? That's crazy. That is crazy. So when he went back out, he basically said the same thing to the dude, but he said it in a better way. Like, what reason would I have to see a smiling face or something like that? You know what I mean? He spun it in a good way, but that made sense to me. You know what I mean? And it was like, since I was a pup, I've been around creativity and business. You know what I mean? So mixing it was always, it was easy for me. I used to make clothes in high school, like, you know what I mean? And I used to sell them, like paint, bleach stuff, all that type, rips in the jeans, all that. Like I was that bull. I was the bull. You know what I mean? So.
And you went to Shellham too?
Yeah, I went to Shellham. Yeah. Shout out to CHS. You know, 2012.
CHS Christian Center.
Hamilton Ghost. You already know. You already know.
All right, so when you talking about clothes, I know you have the clothing line that you do right now. You know, cause it's a kind of a great segue.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's you. I didn't know.
Yeah. That's one of my first original Johns. He got the OG shirt.
Yeah, I've seen like guys wearing things, man. Like some of your friends, and I need to copy some gear too. We definitely need to talk about
for sure.
that.
If y'all give me y'all sizes, I'll be able to.
Yes. But I want you to talk about the clothing line, man. Like, how did that get started? You said you started in high school. Again, was that just like one of your friends saw how you was wearing something, or? Like,
so the clothing line didn't really start until after the photography, right? So in high school, it was more so of a way to make money. You know what I mean? Me and my homie Scotty, we'd be like, yo, people welcome to us. Where you get that from? We ain't get it from nowhere. We made it. Oh, how I did it? I'm like, oh, we making money off of this. Let's just start charging people. You know what I mean? So that started there. And then once I got into the photography and the videography thing, I'm like, I need something to brand myself, because I'm not just a photography and videography company. You know what I mean? Like, I'm a whole brand. You feel what I'm saying? This is like I said, it's an experience. You know what I mean? So I'm like, I need something to really brand myself. So I started putting my name on my shirt. You know what I mean? I really started liking the way it looked, and I'm like, I think I'm about to start selling this to start funding my photography. And with that, I started being able to get more photography equipment, tripods, extra cameras, and stuff like that. So that's really how that. And it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful. Like, it's really been wonderful. I'm not gonna lie. I gotta get back on it, because people be asking me for stuff, and I be like, I got you, because I be doing so much more stuff. But if I can get that really working, like the well-oiled machine I know it's meant to be, it's gonna be something beautiful.
Okay, so my question, right? Somebody that's not from your same background, because it seemed like you very much a product of your environment. Like you said, you had the creative side and you had the business side. So you doing what you're supposed to be doing right now. You all in your lane. For somebody who didn't come from that wants to do that, what would you tell them?
As far as chase their dreams and being an entrepreneur, as far as being a photographer.
Like, no, I'm talking about, so yes, taking whatever they're passionate about, their skill, and really like, because I've a lot of things that you're doing, I'm trying to do.
Okay.
Right. So photography, like I brought my camera today. I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? you know what I'm saying? Like, but my obviously my passion mixed with comedy. So like that's a whole thing itself. So I've already started that, but I've noticed that it like. For people who are not from that, like my pop was always 9 to 5. That's what it is. That's how you make money. That's how you retire. That's how you get it, right? And nothing wrong with that.
Right.
He about to reach his goal. He about to retire, right? But that's not what I want to do. So for different projects, for whether it be like clothing, because I want to wear my own stuff too. I'm the type of dude to stay at the bar. I'm mad at the high price drinks.
Right.
Like, how would you tell somebody, you know, if it's just a small idea, how would you tell them what would you tell them about starting it?
Well, first things first, write it down. Write it down. Any idea you have, write it down. I don't care what I'm doing. Like, well, besides shooting, because when I'm shooting, I'm really to my clients, but I could be,
Hold up.
let me knock on wood. I could be driving down the street, and if a good thought or a good idea come to my mind, I'm writing it down because I don't want to lose it. My mind is like, it's so...
And that's even like just putting it in your phone.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like writing my notes, I make them to put it in the notes, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, I write it down. That's the first step. The second step, I tell everybody, like I went to college, but I didn't finish college. I went to college for criminal justice. And that's a whole nother story. That's just not what I wanted to do. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, YouTube is my college now. Like I tell everybody, I go to YouTube University.
I be on the same.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Everything is on there, man.
Now, I'm glad you brought that up because that's funny. But when you talk about that story with your uncle, how he said, why would I teach him for free? Why would he come back? Now they teach you for free. So what would your uncle say about that now?
But see, not really for free.
If you get the views,
it's not really for free because they get the views and stuff, and people start to advertise them. So it's an angle behind that too.
I mean, it's a lot of input. I got 22. I got 22 subscribers on my YouTube channel.
You got a lot of work to do.
That's what I'm saying. It's gonna be a lot of free stuff going up.
But that's what it is, though. You do it, and people pay because you're popular. Like if you're real funny and people laugh at you, I got to just not people want to advertise, so that's when you make your money.
But before that, you have to.
Yeah, you gotta get there.
You have to put in consistent inputs to consistency with the internet. And even if your uncle did show that dude how to fix the thing, he probably still come back. He don't want to do that. Like it's a
convenience.
It's a convenience of somebody doing it. That's why people who still like I can learn anything I want on YouTube. I still be paying people to do stuff.
People are just lazy, like they don't want to take that.
That's true.
You know,
but I think it depends on the person because there's some people like I'm that dude, man. If I learn how to do it,
it's
over.
It's over.
Right,
never paying anybody.
You know me, I'll put the deck on back of my house. I figured I'll do all that stuff.
But some people just value their time. Like how many vacuum cleaners are we going to pick? Like your uncle learned that skill as a youngin.
Like
took it with
him. In the family.
Like it's like easy money right here. Some people see easy money other ways. I would pay some time to give myself more time to write, do comedy, other stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, but kind of, it's a whole nother subject. I was gonna say time. Like,
but see, when I'm working, I'm thinking. I'm like, man, when I'm working with because I don't work with my hands ordinarily. So if I'm doing labor outside, I'm always thinking, man, I'm making mental notes, I'm changing things. It's so funny because if you look at my curriculums and a lot of stuff I talk about with youth, it's always stories from something I did working or playing ball or something. It always
in the yard.
Yeah, I do.
I felt one with the wood.
People laugh, but you know what? And people say, but you know what? I always remember what I say because it's based off of real stuff. I'm in the room, people say stuff, and they say, yo, that's not what you said last time. Because people start making stuff up. You start making stuff up. Like, yeah, man, I walk uphill everywhere. And the next time I walk. So, I mean, to me, I get stuff. But I get your point. Because I have friends who they not touching it, man. Like, oh, man, I'll pay somebody, I'll sit there and watch them.
Yeah.
But it's with the business, the last thing you want to do is risk losing a client for whatever reason.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. So even if they're the type of people that
Yeah.
might not do it, it's still a chance that
Say
they
it
might.
again.
You know
Say
what
it
I
again.
mean? So,
Say that one more time, because that's very important.
Which part? Which part?
Being willing to lose a client.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Why
sure.
is that important?
That's been the thing, man.
Because clients, number one, that's your livelihood. Like, I don't have that 9 to 5. I don't go to work every day, and at the end of the week, I know that I'm getting paid this. I don't have that security that a lot of people have, and that's okay because that's the life that I chose. But what I also don't have is a ceiling. You
Yeah.
understand what I'm saying? A lot of people that work 9 to 5s, you can only make this much because you can only work this amount of hours.
Yeah.
I'm on call 24/7. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be sometimes where somebody might hit me up like, yo, something just happened. I'm so sorry, the photographer canceled on me. Are you able to get here in an hour? And if I'm able to do it, I'm like, yeah, well, as long as you know it's a rush fee, but yeah, I'm over there. You know what I mean?
Shout
Like,
out. You left a birthday party, the kid's birthday party coming up, then went back. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Alright,
you
so
know what I
that's-
mean? So,
But
So
the
I'm
dog,
miss-
though.
so I'm
You
missing
went to
what
the
you're
dog
saying.
party.
yeah, right.
You
That
went to
had
the
to show
dog
love
party
to the dog.
So I'm missing what you're saying. You said don't be scared to lose a client, right?
No, I'm not saying don't be scared. You should be scared to lose.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
saying
okay.
That's your livelihood.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, that's just it. That's your livelihood. Like, you want as many clients as you possibly
Absolutely.
can.
Yeah.
Now, things happen.
Yeah.
People learn photography. Little cousin graduate college with a photography degree, so they don't need you no more. Or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All types of things happen. So you just want to pop style. So you can have as many clients as you want. You know what I mean? So you never got to hit that ground zero.
But it's funny you say that because a lot of businesses fail because they cap themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they think, well, okay, I got 10 customers. I'm making good money, not realizing that you can lose 5 in one heartbeat, man, or 10. So I think that kills a lot of people too, because they think I'm set because they got these 10, so they don't build on their clientele.
That's one thing. I got comfortable before. I'm not gonna lie. I did get comfortable before. I had a nice flow of clients. I was seeing steady money, and I got comfortable. Worst thing that ever happened to me. I don't want to mess. Worst thing that ever happened to me. You know what I mean? Because that drive is not there. You're not hungry no more. You're not hungry. Like, when I'm taking pictures, I'll be like, all right, let me get this angle. Y'all saw how I did it. You saw how I did it. You know what I mean? It's that hunger. I want to do the best that I can do. You know what I mean? But when you get comfortable, it's not there no more.
But that speaks to what Justin said, because there's a distinct difference between, because I've had photographers like, I couldn't wait till it was over. I'm like, my wife like, yo, let's get this thing over. Versus Justin said that feeling like, yo, I feel special. Let's do this. So and that's key. That's key to making people feel like special. Like, man, I'm worth this, because that's the person that's going to get into the poses and do the things, and that's the person who going to give you word of mouth. Because I found word of mouth is the best client. It's the best advertisement.
Absolutely.
It's the best advertisement when someone like says, man, this dude is really, really good. Yeah.
So in photography, going back in time, what would you say to yourself, giving yourself advice first starting out?
That's a good question.
First starting out, I would probably say get around mentors faster. Like, meaning, like, I have a whole bunch of people that I consider like mentors right now. Not even people that I talk to every day, but people that I know if I need something, I need a question answered or whatever, I can call them and they're there for me. You know what I mean? Like, I have that, but I didn't have that starting out. I would say from day one, whatever it is, you need a mentor.
Could you have had that?
Could I have had it? Yeah.
If you would have just asked?
Yeah, right. That's what it was. That's what it was.
It's funny because I do the same thing in my career.
Mm-hmm.
I could ask for so much more and have so many more opportunities, but I'm a very prideful person.
I was about to say, so why do you think that is? I heard you just say pride. Like, is it fear, pride?
For me, it wasn't pride. It was, I like to see if I could do something myself before I ask for help. You know what I mean? Like, asking for help is the last thing I want to do. Not because I'm scared. Like, having a mom like my mom, like, asking for help is nothing to me if I really need it. You know what I mean? But being the oldest of 6, there comes in the not asking unless you really have to.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So if I could do something by myself and knock down that wall or knock in that nail by myself, then I'm gonna do that without asking for help.
I feel that way too, but that's what I consider pride.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that.
Because I could easily,
it sounds like pride.
I could easily get the question answered by somebody who is invested in my success. Like you talk about mentor, they want to see you become what they are.
That's
and
true.
more.
But my dad always told me this, and I think when it comes to pride, man, he says, if you're prideful, you're not hungry enough. He said, if you remind yourself how hungry you are, man,
Right.
You start asking those questions, man. I think
Right.
sometimes, to your point, it's easy to get comfortable, especially when you have the basic needs, you have things, you're not struggling.
Right.
But if you stay hungry, because I know when I started out, man, nobody would help me. Well, people would say they would help me, and don't look like I was getting as good as them. All of a sudden, you know, they started returning phone calls. They started inviting me to do stuff. Yeah, they said, "Oh, we can't invite Jesse because he's funnier than me now." You know, wait a minute, 6 weeks ago, you know. So I went through that. But what I learned was that I had to kind of swallow my pride, man, because I was hungrier to succeed. So I started asking questions. If they answer me, they do. If they don't, they don't. You know, I just started probing, man. Like, hey, how did you do this? How did you come up with this? You know, well, you know, why do you talk like that?
Right.
You know, like I'm not funny, but I can make people laugh. You know, I learned that from somebody. You know, versus trying to tell jokes. Like Jesse can tell jokes, people laugh. I tell jokes, he look at me like, yeah, come on, really?
Come on here.
So when you're hungry, you got to just remember how hungry you are, man. And then when you're hungry, you ask questions, man. And if they answer you, cool. If they don't,
That's true.
you know, see you later, man. But I think it's important because that's how you get better.
Yeah. No, I definitely ask questions now. I ask questions now, but I ask them way sooner than before. Like before, I used to try to process and see if I could figure it out myself. Now, I know that time is one of the most valuable things that we have. Forget money, forget jewelry, forget everything else. Time is, to me, one of the most valuable things that we have. So I try to save time as much as I can.
Why don't we get off script here for a minute? Because Justin's asked that question almost every week, and he talks about that a lot. Why don't we about asking? About how come we don't ask? How come we're pride? You know, that's something that you talk about every week. You know, and why is that though? I mean, because that's a good point. You know, a lot of us are just we'll struggle with mediocrity. We want to be great instead of just asking that question how to get there, and we go through so much crap on our own.
I'm proud of myself. I just asked a bigger comedian than me to open up for him in Maryland this week, and we'll see if he say yes or no. But I don't really care if he say yes or no. Like I did what I was supposed to do, because like a young you, I already know where I'm going. So whether he know now or know later, he gonna find out. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I know that I did everything I can to, you know what I mean, put myself in the position I want to be in.
But what that does is it separates people, and I learned it because all those folk who tell you if you ever need anything and they feel crap, they disappear. And so you find yourself with people who really mean it. Because now I know if I tell Justin if you ever need anything, he will ask me. So that's different than hey, if you need anything. So that's the good side about it. You start eliminating folk who just blow smoke at you, man. And the people around you are the ones who really will say, you know, and they'll back it up.
That's true. You was about to say something?
Yeah, piggybacking off of what you had said, a couple years ago, I used to be a mentor for a program called As I Plant the Seed. Founder Ryan Harris, a wonderful dude. Like I consider him like my older brother. He's not in photography, but he's somebody that I consider a mentor because he does a whole bunch of things in the community. So with that being said, he ran a challenge, a 30K challenge. He stood on the corner of Broad and Hunting Park for I think it was 3 days. And stood out there and collected money. I'm not leaving, I'm not eating until we reach this 30K. And when I tell y'all, it was raining, it was cold, my boots was soggy, I went home. You know, I'm not gonna lie, I love the kids and all that, but I went home. You know, he was out there.
Who was? Ryan Harris?
Ryan didn't, you know what I mean? So shout out to him for that dedication because he reached his goal. He reached his goal in 3 days. But that taught me a lot. That humbled me a lot. Having to walk up to different cars and like I felt homeless. Like, you know what I mean? Like now you understand how the homeless people feel when they have to really go up there and ask for those specific things. Like that's how I felt. Like, hey, do you mind people giving me the middle finger, pulling off? People won't even roll their window down. You know what I mean? People giving us change but throwing it at us, won't even put it in the bucket. You know what I mean? But so that taught me that you have to get through 1,000 no's before you can reach that one yes. You know what I mean? That's what that taught me, because it would be no. And then it'd be, oh yes, here's a 10. You know what I mean? Like it'd be stuff like that. So, and it taught me that a lot of the people that you think is gonna be there to support you, they not the ones. It's a whole world. It's billions of people out here in this world, and this internet just brought us all closer together. They're even easier to reach. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in what you think is supposed to be your audience, or who you think is supposed to be your clients, or you think is supposed to be your supporters, because they won't come. If you're on the right path that you're supposed to be on, you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, people going to notice it, they're going to gravitate towards you, and they're going to come.
When you attract people about what you're about.
Yeah.
And you get rid of people who not, because people feel bad, and you know, they're the ones who talk about you. Like, who Justin think he is, man? You know, they do. That's the ones, you know, they come up with things to kind of shoot you down, or they trying to talk you out of it. Like, I had some people I knew, and I'm not going to say friends, and they started the conversation off the same way. Well, if I was you, well, you're not me. That's like them in the butt, man. But that's the first thing they would say. Well, why would you, Justin? I wouldn't do a good job. You know, people say stuff like that. So you got to be able to stand alone. I think once you stand alone, you attract people like you. And to me, I've been saying their whole lives, man, it's us against the world. That's all I need. I don't need anybody. I got my family, man, I'm good.
Mm-hmm.
And you say the same thing about making your kids. I think you gotta have that mentality, and if something gets added to it, it's fine.
Mm-hmm.
But if it doesn't, because people will tear you away from your dream in a heartbeat, man. They'll distract you, because all that energy you spend trying to talk somebody into something, that's time you can be putting it into what you're supposed to be doing, honing your craft, man. I don't have time to be sitting for 40 minutes a day trying to show Justin his dream. Like, you got to get out and do your thing.
Right. That was something that I struggled with my family, because out of college, I was doing the music thing. Wasn't making too much money. So when I picked up this camera, I think they kind of thought that I was still in that same mindset. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, he's just playing. He's not doing any, you know what I mean? So my dad is a septic driver. He made good money, got good benefits and everything like that. But when I tell you that one of the biggest things that hurt me from him was him sending me septic applications almost every week. You know what I mean? Like, you not sending out referrals.
I hate to be laughing
not
like
sending
that.
out
I know who you think is. He tried to 66, don't he? He gave me them jewels too. Like, come on, man.
But it's like, you're not sending out referrals.
Yeah.
You're not sending out, you know what I mean? Like, you're not reposting my pictures or my videos or nothing. You just sending me flyers for for the career or whatever. So to me, and he wasn't the only one. I just use my dad because that's he the closest to me, and but he wasn't the only one. A lot of my family members did that, and that at first it hurt, because at first it's like, oh, y'all really don't believe in me, but then y'all really don't believe in me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it kind of flipped the switch, so it turned into a fire. So